Welcome to INKOnversation, the podcast that fuels your entrepreneurial spirit, brought to you by INKOmoko. We deliver thought-provoking conversations with industry leaders, game changers, and unsung heroes, all making an impact in your communities and shaping the future of business. Let's grow together and transform the world, one business at a time.
Ineza, my name is Aretha and I am the Managing Director of INKOmoko. So pleased to have you today with us to discuss your work as a Green Agenda champion. Maybe you could start with a little bit of introduction.
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Ineza. I am an ecofeminist, impact-driven actor based in Rwanda, part of the Green Protector and the Loss and Damage Youth Coalition. And I engage in the climate change sector, trying to contribute as much as I can in the rise, or sharing much more on the community voices, concern, hopes toward helping the world to achieve climate justice in a way.
So you've been the recipient of the 2023 Global Citizen Award. Could you tell us a little bit more on that? What motivated you to found the Green Protector and Loss and Damage Youth Coalition? How did it come about? And could you kindly tell us what motivated you to fund this initiative, the Green Protector and Loss and Damage Youth Coalition?
Thank you so much. I will try to answer using few words. I grew up in a family of three. But growing up, I just wanted to be a pilot or someone who's going to be working closer to the aircraft. But then it was when I was finishing my high school that I get the chance to sit with my parents. I saw on the television that community were being forced to move because of intensive rainfall and the flooding that was happening. And seeing the images on the television, I could see that women and children were the ones who were the front line. It kind of reminded me a forgotten memory I had of waking up in the middle of the night just because my mom woke me up after our house ceiling got destroyed due to wind and intensive rainfall. But I was very, very still a kid. So seeing those images, that's when I took the decision not to go to study aerocrafting or mechanical engineering. I shifted to study environmental and water engineering in the University of Rwanda.
Thank you so much for taking the time to take me through your journey. And I like the fact that, it's not only Rwanda, it's really like countries from the developing world, that are involved. So this is good. This is definitely good because you get to learn from each other and you actually hold each other accountable on this journey. Maybe to come back to the continent, we believe at INKOmoko that all the problems on the continent have solutions that already exist on the continent. Why is it that you focus on the youth in your education efforts and in implementing solutions? Is it because you think they are the only people that will understand this fight? Or is it because you think that they're the ones that are going to build tomorrow? Why the focus on just the youth? Or is it probably just because you're also part of the youth?
I agree that the youth are the main focus of our actions. And education is one of our critical pillars. In my understanding, youth are the perfect linkage between an older generation and the younger generation. We are actors and we want to act. You can be able to ignite a massive youth actions worldwide that's going to be promoting the safetyness of the people and the planet.
So Ineza, could you tell us about yourself and your journey to become a recipient of the 2023 Global Citizen Award?
Thanks. So the journey is a kind of a series of moments to learn about the true reality of the climate injustice, especially in the perspective of today's generation, women and children, and then understanding that there's some rooms of concrete action that young people, women and children can be part of, and daring to start because The Global Citizen Award was from the recognition of the work within the global coalition of more than 800 young people from more than 70 countries who are aiming nothing more than to really hold leaders accountable in taking action to address loss and damage. And for us, loss and damage is the current injustice, and it means all the negative impact of climate change that is happening right now. So, for example, events such as intensive rainfall, wildfire, flooding, sea level rise, cyclone, everything, weather event, it's becoming like pretty much exacerbated because of how much our planet is warming up. So we are simply wanting to stand in global solidarity as global youth to demand concrete action on addressing this crisis.
Ineza, you've shared in the past that you want to change the youth's role in climate action from just advisory to, leading solutions. Why is it important that governments change their views of the youth's role? What do you bring on the table, basically?
I think one need to really respect and recognize an active youth participation in the decision-making process. And learning from a country such as Rwanda, where youth are included in a non-tokenistic manner, is one of the highlights. Also, in terms of concrete action on the ground, I would just like to share some of our concrete examples. So, when the coalition started in 2020. One of our key demands was for the world to really try to see values in taking action by an active engagement of young people, because we wanted to have funds for youth-driven action in the effort to address climate change impact. But then it was one of our partners who took the risk in helping the establishment of a youth-driven grant-making process on supporting 11 youth actions. This is the kind of leadership we want, a leadership that is able to trust young people, today's generation especially, on how they're taking actions, but also giving them like a freedom on accessing the funds on the international level. When a young person is invited to be on the table, he or she is not only one person, because they are able to represent their generation and the next generation. So the kind of feedback that they are going to be receiving is simply a means to help the elders be aware on their accountability, and also trying to let this young generation also know how they could shape the road toward the climate action in a much more prominent way for the next generation. Sometimes youth are not respected in the international process or engagement, because you can be reminded that you are not an expert. What we need to do or to advocate for is to really accept the uniqueness expertise of today's generation.
That's amazing, Ineza. And maybe to come back on what we do, at INKOmoko, we work with entrepreneurs, largely young people and women from refugee and host community populations in 3 countries, in Rwanda, in Ethiopia, and in Kenya. And we equip them with knowledge, with tools and processes to achieve success. The majority of the effects of climate change are experienced by these vulnerable communities, who contribute the least to the problem. How is the Loss and Damage Youth Coalition tackling that issue? And what does success look like for you?
I think one of the reality is that there will not be an economic development that is sustainable enough if we are not able to address the climate crisis. Because in reality, take, for example, the events that happened in Rwanda recently, where we lost infrastructure, roads. And in reality, those are the GDP of our country and the lives of our people that are being thrown away in a devastating manner to the cause that they didn't contribute to the root cause of what is happening. And in the business reality, that's also true, because if you're a farmer, for example, and you want to grow that sector, but then your region is going to be prone to the flooding or sea level rise, you're not going to be able to secure your intended economic development. So one of the ways that we see this being addressed is to really established the loss and damage finance that is going to be new, additional, and accessible to the vulnerable communities and countries, especially developing countries, because whatever promises that is out there, accessing the finance, even if you're a public or private sector, it's going to be hard because you have modalities, protocols, bureaucratic system that is not going to really help young entrepreneurs in this context to be able to access the right technology, the right funds that they need to be resilient. There's some mechanism that is existing, including like insurance of investment that are being taken. But the reality is that there's not going to be any robust insurance that can really protect private sector in terms of making investment. But the only way that can be like a concrete solution is to learn on how each economic sector can uphold the value of the circular green economy principles, or how can you design your project or design your business in a manner that is going to be resilient toward what the scientists are telling us that is going to be our future. That's the only way, because otherwise, if we keep doing the business as usual, you're going the wrong way.
In terms of the development that you see your group bringing locally and globally, what is it that you see is a solution for climate change and a sustainable, developed green future? Like, what do we need to do to make sure that, we have a permanent solution to climate change? Is it advisory? Is it taking action as the young people and really making lots of noise to make sure that everybody understands that this is very serious? Or is it at the level of governments, putting up policies and ensuring that everything is being followed through?
I'll say like the only way we can really engage in having a concrete solution for climate change is to take action now, regardless of a sector you are into. So if you are in the policy world, establish good policies, but the policy need to be robust enough so that they're able to ignite concrete action within the community. Because a lot of time we forget to understand that a lot of the community who are vulnerable to climate crisis right now or climate change does not even know what climate change is. That's why I think they emphasize on really sharing stories and sharing the perspective. The main thing to really start like addressing the climate change is to take action now. And no one should be like, oh, I cannot do anything, because every small action counts. We like to say in the coalition that every signature counts in highlighting the voices, and also every action counts in the community to protect our tomorrow.
I totally agree with you, Ineza. It starts with how I take my decisions. It starts with my neighbor. It starts with my community. It starts with really each and every one of us, that makes that conscious. And I like how you're saying conscious choice. And I like how you're saying that, sometimes when we're even talking about the green agenda, we don't know what we're talking about. I wish there were like clear rules of these are the do's and don'ts, for each and every home, for example. And really starts with action. I like that. So what's your proudest achievement to date as an organization and as an activist?
I think being part of the Global Citizens is going to be still like that one highlight for my life, because it was something that I was not really ready for, but I'm grateful and humble. There's a lot of things that I'm really proud of on a personal level and organizational level. But what really stand out is the amazing way that young people choose to act as a team, regardless of their background. Because I get to have a chance to work with the young people from Rwanda, like in the Rwandan context, but also get the chance to work with the other young people from different countries. I always find it fascinating. We live all the value of leave no one behind, because we understand how each of us is coming from a different perspective. It's amazing how we manage to be a team and have like a common language on each point. And that is kind of thing that I feel I'm really, really grateful for and kind of proud of, because I'm being part of that team, a team that is able to be shaping like what a global partnership should look like in the perspective of a developing country, a small island country, a least developed country. Because at the end of the day, the ability of as being able to stand as one voice, as one global youth voice on climate change issue, especially loss and damage, is something that I'm really, really proud of it.
So last question from me. At INKOmoko, our most unique value is we eat God. What that means is that we take time to appreciate each other and we celebrate success together. We hold each other up in hard times as well. What would eating God mean to you in your search for a greener environment, a greener tomorrow with your peers?
For me, I think the way we do to appreciate each other and celebrate success together is because we are a global coalition and we state that we are, ADYC is the voice of the many. So whenever we get the opportunity to be in the same conferences, what we do is that we try to have like good memories with each other, because most of our work is done online. So any opportunity that is going to help us meet in person, I think that would be like the God. Like that would be like something that help us a lot, because you're able to see some of the faces going from Zoom and be in reality. And we have a joke. For example, you meet a new person for the first time, but you've been having calls on Zoom. You were like, "Ooh, you have a head. Ooh, you have a body. You are actually alive. I can touch you," because that is because we feel like you are at home in a way. But the good thing is that the ability to celebrate each other in physical reality is something that I enjoy a lot. I couldn't miss it for anything if I can.
GOAT for us means greatest of all things. And I think you being part of that coalition of 800 young people, I'm sure all of you are great minds and you're doing such an amazing job. There's so many other young people that are not thinking about our planet. And so you leading the way is definitely something worth the praise. Thank you for your time, Ineza. Thank you for your great contributions to this INKOnversation. We're very happy to have you and looking forward to meeting you in person. And why not having more discussions like this at a personal level. Thank you.
Yeah.
And have a great day.
Thank you so much.
At INKOmoko, we are dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs across Africa with the tools, resources, and knowledge they need to flourish in today's competitive business landscape. Now, we are bringing that passion to this podcast, taking you on a journey through inspiring stories from around the globe.